Yo, what is up, guys? It is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, back again today with another mock draft video. And today we're doing a SuperFlex mock draft, a 10-team one from the second position, as of a recommendation from a fan named Kevin. He says that his league is a 10-man league, 6 point per passing touchdown, so that's what we're doing. It's one quarterback, one SuperFlex, two running backs, two wide receivers, one tight end, one flex, a defensive kicker, and 6 bench spots. Now, there's also in his league a bonus 15 points for a shutout, but that is hard. There's no way to figure that out in the rankings, so we're just gonna avoid that part. But pretty much everything else is exactly fine. He also said to shout out his league, the 905 Fantasy League, so shout out to them. And we're gonna get right into this. So it is a 10-team super flex league. Now, to tell you if you don't know what super flex is, that means that your flex, one of your flexes, because there's two flexes, one of your flexes can have a quarterback as it. And that pretty much means every single time you're going to have a quarterback in that position because it's just stupid to avoid the great points that a quarterback brings in a 6 point per passing touchdown quarterback league. It's also PPR, got to keep that in mind. So the roster positions, like I said, a quarterback, two running backs, two wide receivers, tight end, flex, a super flex, kicker, defense, and 6 bench spots. And we're doing it from the number 2 pick, so let's get right into the video. So the first pick is Ezekiel Elliott, and now it is our pick. So he discussed possibly picking Patrick Mahomes. And we're going to see what happens if you were to pick Patrick Mahomes in this situation. Having a guy that's most likely going to finish as the number 1 quarterback in a 6 point passing touchdown league obviously gives you a huge advantage over the other guys. And in two quarterback leagues or super flex leagues, the quarterback is obviously a lot more important than in a typical 4 point passing touchdown league or just a 6 point passing touchdown league with one QB. So we're going to be going Patrick Mahomes here for that reason, and we're going to see how the team ends out. Now, let me tell you something. There's probably 3 strategies for Superflex or 2 quarterback leagues. The first strategy is what we're going to do, which is picking a quarterback early, and then picking one in the later to middle rounds. Another strategy is picking just 2 middle round quarterbacks, like say in round 5 and 7, you pick 2 quarterbacks, or in 6 and 7, 6 and 8, something like that. And then the other strategy is completely waiting until the end of the draft and picking 3 guys right at the end, because in a superflex league you're going to want 3 quarterbacks. Obviously, now if the league is set up incorrectly and they don't set a cap at having just 3, you could be a guy who goes for 4 quarterbacks, which is kind of a dick move, but if it is allowed, I would advise doing it, because some guy like Andy Dalton that might be your last pick is going to be better than anyone else's other flex option that is not a quarterback. So that's always a good thing to do, and it's also funny because then you screw everyone else over. So it is our pick. We're going Patrick Mahomes, like I said. Don't know if I would do this every single time, but since he suggested that he would go Patrick Mahomes, we're going to see how the team turns out. So we go Pat Mahomes. After we pick Pat Mahomes, Alvin Kamara, Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, Le'Veon Bell, David Johnson, DeAndre Hopkins, Melvin Gordon, Michael Thomas, Andrew Luck, Devontae Adams, James Conner, Joe Mixon, Julio, Baker, Odell, Travis Kelce, and now it is our pick. So in this kind of a league, I would suggest not picking a tight end early, because the tight end position doesn't matter as much when you're starting 2 quarterbacks. And even though it is a 10-team league, and I do preach picking a tight end earlier is better in a 10-team or an 8-team league, but in a 2 quarterback league, I don't believe that is true. Especially this guy avoided picking a quarterback early and went with a tight end when he could have doubled up our running back to potentially give himself such a huge positional advantage where other guys are picking quarterbacks early. I think that would have been the move for that guy, to just go 2 running backs, but he didn't. So in leagues, I always preach that you need to get 2 running backs at the beginning of the draft, if possible. But that's completely different in 2 quarterback leagues, because the quarterback position is obviously more important than the running back or the wide receiver or the tight end or anything. So we're going to be going running back here, obviously, though, because you still do need those running backs to win the games. And this is a PPR league, so you want a running back that is going to catch passes. Now, it's recommending that we pick Todd Gurley, but you have to understand that Todd Gurley is injured. He has knee arthritis, which is not good, and you don't want that on your team. You don't want to be drafting him in the 2nd round, the 3rd round, the 4th round. I guess if he fell to the 5th, I might think about doing it, because he may still finish as a top 12 running back, but I don't feel very confident starting him every single week. So with that said, I don't trust him. I don't really trust Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook's only played 15 games in 2 years in the NFL, and that's not even one whole season combined, so that's just not good. So it's between Nick Chubb here and Damian Williams. Now, Chubb might be ranked higher in this, but I would much rather have Damian Williams because I know that Carlos Hyde is not going to at any point ever steal his touches, where Nick Chubb, it is possible for Kareem Hunt to eventually take his touches. So we're going to go David Williams here. Even though I do not think Nick Chubb's touches will get stolen by Kareem, we're going to go Chubb. We're going to go Williams here anyways. You want a piece of that Kansas City offense. And now we got two guys on the Kansas City offense. So if Patrick Mahomes was to throw to Damian Williams, you'd get double points. And that is pretty ideal. So every time, pretty much, that the Kansas City scores a touchdown, you're getting those points. And they're going to be scoring a lot of touchdowns, just for those watching at home, just so you know. So we're going Damian Williams here. I forgot to say this at the beginning of the video, so it would be great if you guys could please leave a like right now. Click subscribe. It's right here, and it's also at the bottom. Click subscribe, click the notification bell so you get notified for every video coming out, because there's a new video every single day coming out on my channel. So it is our pick, because the guy after us went with Deshaun Watson and Todd Gurley. So now 4 quarterbacks have went off the board. So 4 out of the 10 teams have a quarterback, which is going to be, may even be higher in your league potentially with quarterbacks. Quarterbacks are going to go very early in these 2 quarterback SuperFlex type leagues. So it's our pick, and we could go here with Nick Chubb, or we could wait on running back and hopefully get Aaron Jones and Kerryon Johnson later, which I think I'm going to do, and just go for Juju here. Juju's a guy who I think he could even finish the season as the wide receiver 1 in fantasy, the best wide receiver in fantasy. And I like to get that upside of, I think that he's just a guy that's going to be sprinkled with them targets from Big Ben. And I think that he can definitely have a great season. He did great even when Antonio Brown was on the team. So just think about what he can do when he's really the only target. But I guess Moncrief's the target, and so is Vance McDonald and James Conner. But besides that, Juju's definitely going to be getting hella targets, over 150 targets potentially. So we're going to go Juju here and not even worry about it. Juju is going to be locked in our lineup every single game. You don't have to worry about Juju doing bad. So after Juju, Aaron Rodgers comes off the board, followed by Adam Thielen, Dalvin Cook, Mike Evans, Russell Wilson, Antonio Brown, Nick Chubb, Zach Ertz, Keenan Allen, Leonard Fournette, Marlon Mack, George Kittle, Drew Brees, Amari Cooper, T.Y. Hilton, and now it's our pick. So now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of 10 teams have a quarterback. So we're going to wait a bit to go our second quarterback, but that is important to note. Also important to note that even though this is a 2 quarterback league, the big 3 tight ends, which is Kelsey, Kittle, and Ertz, still went in the first 4 rounds like you see in normal drafts. So that is something to note. So now we definitely have to go running back here, because I would rather get a later wide receiver than have one of the shittier running backs that I see coming in the future. And we like to load up on running backs here on this channel, and it is something that I would suggest you do as well. So we got Juju, and now we're going running back, like I said. So Sony Michel is a guy that I don't want here at all due to his injury, and that I don't really know who the Patriots are going to be using week in and week out, and it's kind of confusing. You don't really want any Patriots running backs on your team in fantasy, besides maybe James White, but James White is more of a receiver than a running back anyways. Derrick Henry is a guy that I don't really normally target, and I don't want to target here, but he is a guy I could see why people like him based upon his yards, his dramatic uptick in points the last couple weeks, 47, 30, 16. But in the beginning of the season, he wasn't doing much, so you're going to have to be putting a lot of reliance on the Titans riding on Derrick Henry's back and trying to win some games. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen, so he's more questionable, and I like to be more safe in the first couple of rounds. We have 3 safe guys so far: Damian Williams, Patrick Mahomes, and Juju. Those are all safe guys. So we're going to go with safety again. Devontae Freeman, not as safe, injury prone, so we don't like that. Aaron Jones or Kerryon Johnson would be the pick here. I'd be happy with either guy here, but we're going to go Kerryon Johnson strictly because I like him more. I think Matt Patricia is trying to build the Detroit Lions just like the Patriots that he was on formerly, and try to get the Lions to be more run heavy like you see the Patriots nowadays be. So we're going to go Kerryon Johnson here. And he's also a guy who catches passes, so that's good, just like Aaron Jones. We're going to go Kerryon Johnson here, and if Aaron Jones falls to us, that's who we'll pick in the next round. Otherwise, we'll probably look receiver. Boom, we go Kerryon. After Kerryon, Derrick Henry goes, followed by Sony Michel. So Aaron Jones does fall to us here. And while I do like Edelman a lot, I think if we go running back here as our flex option, not our super flex option, but our flex option, we could be going get tons of receivers are available towards the end of the draft that I like a lot. So I wouldn't mind just getting one of those later guys. That's why we're gonna go running back here. Like I said, I like to be very risk averse in the first couple of rounds. So in the 5th round here, we're not gonna go Devontae Freeman because he has more upside, obviously, than Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones has a new coach, so we don't know how they're gonna be doing it, but we do know that Aaron Rodgers does like to throw it to Aaron Jones. They got the Aaron connection, so we're gonna be going Aaron Jones here, hoping he puts up some solid production just like last year, even though he was suspended the first 2 games. And he's a locked-in guy here for our flex, a very good flex option. So we're going Aaron Jones here. And then we could wait a bit. We're going to have to wait a bit to make our next pick, obviously, because we're on the swing. So it's our pick. We're picking Aaron Jones. After Aaron Jones, Brandon Cooks goes, followed by Matt Ryan, AJ Green, Mark Ingram, Devontae Freeman, Jared Goff, Cam Newton, Philip Lindsay, Julian Edelman, Robert Woods, Josh Jacobs, Tariq Cohen, Chris Godwin, Kenny Galladay, OJ Howard, Chris Carson. So now it's our pick. And let's see. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 teams. So every team has a quarterback. That's important to note because you don't want to have if you go for the strategy of picking a middle round quarterback with an early round quarterback, you don't want to be the last guy picking that second quarterback. Now it would have been more ideal if Matt Ryan was to have fallen to us here. So we're going to wait probably till the 8th round to go quarterback because I like a lot of those guys. And in 2 quarterback leagues or superflex leagues, you want to go with more safe options in my opinion. While you can, since you're going to have 3 on your team, you can probably Mahomes is going to be locked in, and you can switch your second and third guy in and out by playing the matchup. But you want guys who you think are going to be safe every week. So you don't want, obviously, your last 2 quarterbacks to be like Andy Dalton and Nick Foles because that's just a shit show. So it's our pick here, and we're not going quarterback. We're just going to wait on that. We have right now 3 running backs, 1 receiver, and a quarterback. So we're probably going to go receiver here and hopefully pick a running back potentially in the next round if we want another one. So we're going to go receiver here. And right now, I would not be looking at Cooper Kupp. He's an injury prone. While he's only gotten injured once in his career, he's gotten injured a few times, but only one really serious injury, like his torn ACL last year. I don't think he will be back for like the first week or the second week, and I don't want that on my team with such a high draft pick. A guy who I'd rather pick his teammates like Woods or Cooks if they were available. I don't think they're not available. I don't think. But we are going to be going with another guy who I see super high upside in, which is Tyler Lockett. Now, a lot of people, they'll be telling you, Tyler Lockett, the Seahawks are a running team, so why would you want a receiver on the Seahawks? Well, that's because he's the only receiver on the Seahawks right now besides DK Metcalf. And there's another guy whose name is escaping my brain right now. But I would go Tyler Lockett here. I also would have go DJ Moore, Calvin Ridley. I like those guys a lot too. But in this position, I would like to go Tyler Lockett for the high upside of being the #1 target with a team with a great quarterback in Russell Wilson. So we're gonna go Lockett here. Boom. We got Lockett. After Lockett, Cooper Kupp, Eric Ebron go. So at this point, we could even go with a receiver here, but it is going to put them into our flex spot, which is kind of dumb. But we're just going to, at the end of the video, I'll tell you that you'd obviously have a quarterback starting there over a flex. So we're going to go with our second flex option and just go receiver here and then go running backs a lot at the end. Because a lot of running backs are going to fall to the next round that I like most likely. So we're going to go Calvin Ridley here. I like him slightly more than DJ Moore, even though slightly more than DJ Moore, even though DJ Moore is probably going to end up being the one on Carolina. I do like the upside of Calvin Ridley having a great breakout season this year. And even though he's a guy that you're probably not going to be starting every week, so it's okay since we already have 2 solid receivers. That this is a pretty good pick here. We're going to pick Calvin Ridley. After we pick Calvin Ridley, DJ Moore comes off the board, followed by Hunter Henry, Jarvis Landry, Robbie Anderson, Darius Geis, James White, Mike Williams, Tevin Coleman, David Montgomery, Evan Ingram, Tyler Boyd, Sammy Watkins, Tyreek Hill, Kareem Hunt, Alshon Jeffrey. So now it's our pick. And based upon the picks after we picked Calvert Ridley that I want to talk about, I want to talk about how Darius Geis was picked. Don't pick Darius Geis. He's injury prone. He got injured his first year, so he's definitely probably injury prone. But that's not why I'm most scared of him. I'm most scared because he is not the only guy in the Washington backfield. They have Adrian Peterson. They have Chris Thompson. They got him, and they also have another guy. So you don't want any of that. You don't know if Geis is going to be the one, and you don't know if he could hold on to the one. And after they bring in Adrian Peterson back for another year, signing him back, I don't know why they would heavily use Geis in that situation. Also, another thing to talk about, Tyreek Hill. It was recently announced that he may only get a maximum of 4 games. So in the 8th round, getting a guy who may only be suspended for 4 games in Tyreek Hill, such an explosive receiver, may be worth it. But we'll figure out now closer to draft day if that is true or if that is fake news. So it's our pick. And we're probably going to be going running back here because the running back we wanted fell to us now. I don't necessarily always preach picking Lamar Miller. Lamar Miller's he's not a sexy guy. He's not someone who's going to bring you them 20, 25-point games that win you your week, but he is going to bring you that floor that you need. And as being someone you're barely ever going to be playing or just a flex option when your guys are hurt, that is a solid option here at the running back position because we can pick Vance McDonald probably in the next round and not worry about him getting sniped. So we're going to go Lamar Miller here. If we go Lamar Miller, Christian Kirk and Will Fuller go. So now it's our pick. And I think maybe we can even wait till the next round on Vance McDonald. But if we don't pick him here, then he is not going to make it back to us. If he doesn't make it back to us, I'm going to be pretty pissed because he's a tight end I really like to target. He's a guy that's a late round pick in fantasy, obviously, but has such high upside, being one of the options on the Steelers that could be getting some of Antonio Brown's targets from last year. That's also why I like Jalen Samuels, the running back, later in the draft. So we're gonna go Vance here and hope he puts up some solid games, even though we have Juju already on Pittsburgh. But I wouldn't be too worried about doing that at all. So we're going Vance here. After we go Vance, Latavius Murray comes off the board, followed by Jordan Howard, Chicago defense, Corey Davis, Rashad Penny, N'Keal Harry, Jared Cook, Al Robinson, Michael Gallup, Miles Sanders, Dante Pettis, Rolls-Royce Freeman, Darrell Henderson, Cortland Sutton, Emmanuel Sanders, LaShawn McCoy, and now it's our pick. So, we are likely going to be going with a running back here because we don't want these guys to go out of where we got them. So something else to point out here before we make our pick, that Chicago was taking the defense. So you don't want to be picking the Bears defense or any defense really early in 2 quarterback drafts at all, in my opinion. But when you do get that 15-point bonus for a shutout, which I don't think the Bears are going to really shut out any teams. The likelihood of a shutout happening is pretty low. But the Bears obviously would get an advantage in that kind of a league. Also, I do like. I think the Bears, you can reach for them, I guess, like the 11th, but I still wouldn't even do it. I like to pick my defense last and do a streaming technique, which I'm going to explain at the end of the video. So it's our pick, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 running backs and 3 receivers. So we're going to be going running back, obviously, because running backs win you your championship. So we're going to be going with Ronald Jones here. Foreman would just be a guy who would be set on our bench because we already have Lamar Miller, and you don't want to handcuff someone that's on your bench most of the time. So I'm going to go Ronald Jones here, a guy who can take the #1 job, even though it came out today that Peyton Barber may be the #1. So we're going to be going with Ronald Jones here. Boom. After we went Ronald Jones, Carson Wentz, Sterling Shepard, go. So now it is our pick again. And we're going to be going with probably our second quarterback because we don't want other people to start taking him. See, that guy took Carson Wentz. So we're going to go our second quarterback here. And I like Jameis Winston a lot in this situation because while he does throw a lot of interceptions, he's going to be throwing a shit ton of touchdowns. I think Bruce Arians may be able to fix him throwing so many interceptions. And he'll just be a solid guy that you can trust pretty much week in and week out. I'd also consider picking Big Ben here. He's more safe in my opinion than Jameis Winston, but Jameis Winston gives you that solid upside. So we're gonna go Jameis Winston, but actually, in this situation where we have Juju and Vance McDonald, picking Ben Roethlisberger here might be good, a better idea because You're getting those double points if Big Ben throws a touchdown to Juju in a 6-point passing touchdown league. You're getting 12 points for that, or to Vance, you're getting 12 points. So for that reason, we're gonna go Big Ben, but you don't necessarily have to stack multiple guys on your team. But it's something that I see as something you could do. So we're gonna go Big Ben here. After we go Big Ben, Jameis Winston, Phillip Rivers, Jimmy Garoppolo, Mitch Trubisky, Tom Brady, Dak Prescott, Kyler Murray, Sam Darnold, T.J. Hawkinson, David Njoku, Dante Foreman, L.A. Rams, Carlos Hyde, Mike Davis, Ito Smith, DK Metcalf. Now it's our pick. So let me point this out. 9 quarterbacks went in a row. That is something you're going to be noticing in 2 quarterback leagues because once someone starts taking their backup, this guy picked Carson Wentz, so now I picked my second quarterback, not a backup, but our second quarterback. You're going to be seeing that runs happening all the time with quarterbacks in these kind of leagues. So let that be known. Also, this guy picked the Rams. Don't be doing that. Don't be picking the second best defense early. You can just wait till the end. None of the other picks were really that weird. Besides Carlos Hyde, I wouldn't be picking Carlos Hyde. I don't think in any situation will he ever take over the position from Damian Williams on the Kansas City Chiefs. So it's our pick, and we have 1, 2, 3. We have 5 running backs, 3 receivers, and 2 quarterbacks. Obviously, in this situation, we would have Ridley out and Big Ben in to the Superflex position, but we can't change that obviously because we're just drafting. But just remember that. So it's our pick, and we're gonna want to go running back here because we also want to make sure we're probably gonna go running back, receiver, quarterback because we need, and you don't need a backup tight end if you draft a tight end early. So we definitely want to get 3 quarterbacks. You need 3 quarterbacks in a super flex league. So it's our pick, and we're gonna go running back here because I don't think this guy's gonna fall to us if we don't pick him. So Jalen Samuels is a guy for the same reason I like Juju, or for the same reason that I like, I like Juju, I like Vance actually because he's gonna be getting those targets that AB was getting, and he's obviously not going to get 100 targets, but he's going to also be running as a receiver, as a tight end, and out of the backfield. While the Pittsburgh Steelers do normally just go with one running back, it may be different now with James Conner being the lead back, not Le'Veon Bell. James Conner has some injury risk to him, obviously. I think that if James Conner was to go down, Jalen Samuels, that guy is a start in your lineup every single week. He would be your flex every single week in that situation. And while you don't hope for injuries, obviously, if he was to get injured, that would definitely boost Jalen Samuels' production. But Jalen Samuels is a guy that may turn out to be a solid flex start, even with James Conner in the game for his receiving production. So we're going to go Jalen Samuels here. After we go Jalen Samuels, Golden Tate is picked, followed by Dallas Goedert. So it's our pick, and we need a receiver, and then we're going to be going quarterback with the last pick before we go defense and kicker. So you're all the way back here, and you're thinking these receivers don't really look that good, Nick. But no, they do look good. Deshaun Jackson's a guy I like. James Washington's a guy I don't like. Kiki Cootie's a guy I like. D.D. Westbrook and Marvin Jones, I like all those guys. But we're going to be going Marvin Jones here. Marvin Jones is definitely 100% going to bounce back after last year. He got hurt towards the end of the season, but he had some solid games when he was active and not hurt. And as long as he gets in for preseason and is ready to go for the season, I'm confident that Marvin Jones will be a great sleeper pick in your draft. He's definitely worth pretty much a last round pick, 13th round pick. Pretty much a flyer, but he's not much of a flyer in my opinion because I think he's pretty safe. He's going to be the number 2 on the team on Detroit, and I think that with Stafford not being so hurt like he was at the end of last season, it came out that he sprained or broke his back, and he was still playing with that, and he wasn't putting up the yards that you would want. But now that Marvin Jones is active, Kenny Golladay is the number 1 on that team. Marvin Jones is also pretty good because Marvin Jones can run on the outside. He can be slot. He can do everything. He's a good player, and I'm confident in picking Marvin Jones here. I like him more than any of these other guys, but I would also not hate if you were to pick D.D. Westbrook or Kiki Cootie here. You pick one of those 3 guys. Leave it down in the comments who you would have picked there if you would have changed my Marvin Jones pick. So we're going to be going Marvin Jones here. After we go Marvin Jones, D.D. Westbrook, Andy Isabella, Austin Hooper, Jags defense, Kiki Cootie, Ravens defense, Larry Fitz, Duke Johnson, Jay Ajayi, Jaws, aka JJ Arga White, or whatever his last name is. Whiteside, something like that. James Washington, Trey Burton, Rob Gronkowski, Devin Funchess, LA Charger defense and Deshaun Jackson. Now, normally, I think that the computer is just stupid in this, but normally people do go three quarterbacks, obviously, because you need a backup quarterback for your flex. So we're going to be going with backup quarterback. I don't know if the computer will, but it's okay. You're still going to be stuck with one of these guys, most likely, in this situation. So we're just going to go with a guy who you can put in over Big Ben in certain matchups or when obviously one of your guys is on the bye. We're gonna go with Josh Allen here. He has a lot of upside. He has a really easy first 3 games, and if he doesn't end up working out, you could probably still pick up like Matthew Stafford off the waiver wire, and he'll still be a solid option for you. Josh Allen has a really easy first 3 weeks. Like I said, I might even consider starting him over Big Ben if this was a real league in those first 3 games, and he obviously is a running quarterback also, which gives you a more of an advantage in a 4-point quarterback passing touchdown leagues, but still in a 6-point, he's still pretty useful. And I think his arm is better than Lamar Jackson, so that's why I would pick him here. Lamar Jackson I don't hate either, so it would be Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. Kirk Cousins, I could also pick him here, but he's more of a floor kind of guy. You're not really wowed to be starting Kirk Cousins. You're never like, oh damn, Kirk Cousins gonna throw 30 points this week. No, Kirk Cousins doesn't do that. But you know who could do that? Josh Allen. So that's why we like that. We're going Josh Allen here. After Josh Allen, McCole Hardman goes, followed by Greg Olson or Greg Zerline, not Greg Olson. So now we pick our defense and kicker in the last 2 picks. So the way you pick a defense is by going on Google, typing in NFL schedule week 1 or NFL Pocket Edition schedule. So you're going to bring this to the draft. You're going to look at the schedule and be like, okay, who has an easy opponent week 1? And you draft that team, and then every other week you're just streaming. I'll make videos on how to do it, which guys to stream. I'll probably even make which defense to draft in rankings 1 through 32, probably closer to August when I feel, or probably even in the middle of August when I feel more comfortable knowing how good an offense is going to be, in my opinion. So we're going to be going with the Browns here because they're the highest ranked. I wouldn't necessarily pick the Browns, but if you get what I'm saying, you pick the defense that you think is playing the easiest opponent in week 1. So we go the Browns. I'm going to only say actual players that are on offense, not the kickers, because I don't think the kickers' names or the defense's names are important to be going here. No real players have gone so far. AP is a guy that I could pick him in the 16th round or in like the one of your last picks. Well, I think the wheels may have fallen off of that man. He says he's going to rush for like 2,000 yards. I don't think that's even possible. He's not going to get 2,000 yards. He's probably not even going to get 1,000 yards. But there is the upside of that if Geis is to be absolute shit. Peyton Barber, another guy I like a lot because I think he could end up being the one, which came out. He may be the one running back on Peyton Barber because Ronald Jones really is not impressing. Austin Eckler's an okay guy. Mark Andrews, a tight end that I target late. If I just completely punt the tight end position, I don't think you need a backup if you pick OJ Howard or any of the top guys, in my opinion. But it's our pick, and we got to go kicker here. And the way you pick a kicker is you're going to Google the kicker rankings to follow someone who actually knows something about kickers. But we're going to be going with Chris Boswell because he's on Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh's a good offense. And Houston Texans are the last pick of the draft. So our starting lineup is going to be Patrick Mahomes as our quarterback. Our 2 running backs are going to be Damian Williams and Kerryon Johnson. Our starting receivers are going to be Juju and Tyler Lockett. Our starting tight end is Vance McDonald. Our starting regular flex is Aaron Jones, and our starting super flex is going to be Big Ben. You're going to move Ridley out of there. Kicker defense don't matter. So on our bench is Calvin Ridley, Lamar Miller, Ronald Jones, Jalen Samuels, Marvin Jones, and Josh Allen. So thank you guys a lot for watching this video. Thank you to the guy who recommended this video, Kevin. Thank you. Also, I would like if you guys could please click the subscribe button. That's probably on your screen right now. It's also down below. If it's not, click the notification bell, click like, and leave a comment. Thank you guys all for watching, and have a great day. I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Goodbye.